Hey guys, Ash here. So, this E3 was quite special. We got great announcements from all the big guys. We had Final Fantasy VII Remake, The Last Guardian, backwards compatibility on the Xbox One, Shenmue and so much more. But I want to talk about some of the titles that may have gotten blown over by all the big news. First up, we have Unravel. Martin Salin popped up on the stage in a nervous manner and presented one of the most heartfelt presentations I've seen in a very long time. His passion was directly transferred onto the screen, and what we saw was the reveal of a new platformer with a character made of yarn taking the stage, which unravels as you play. The yarn reflects the love and the bonds that we make, which is then unraveled as we are separated from those very notions. This is pretty insightful and deep considering what we're seeing on the screen, and I like that. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing and hearing more about this title. Next up is Dreams. The quirky, fun and daring Media Molecule took the stage to present Dreams. Now everyone seems to be under the consensus that they still don't know what this title is. I don't know, I think I kind of disagree. Dreams is a platform, a canvas if you will, to take the tools and almost unleash your creativity in a way that we haven't seen before. I think most people don't get it because they can't comprehend it. Now I'm not saying that I get it entirely either, but what I'm seeing is that we'll be able to express ourselves with creating stories, level, and moments free from the restraint of what Little Big Planet may have had. This is complemented by the novel input method. Tearaway made every use of the Vita's input methods, and they did it again when they tailored it towards the DualShock 4. With the short look that we had, we'll be using a combination of button presses and movements with the controller to sculpt our very own creations. So I'm really intrigued to find out more about how it will play. Next we have ReCore. Shown at the Microsoft conference, this is the new game from the makers of Metroid Prime. Straight from the outset, the game ties us in emotionally as we see our protagonist walking a desolate landscape with her companion. It feels like I see elements of Shadow of the Colossus in games like this, and in a way I'm glad. It gives a sense of the unknown compounded with curious excitement to find out more. What we don't know is the context, nor do we know the overarching story, but what we can tell is that our female protagonist is partnered with an artificial consciousness that can be transferred from one entity to another in order to help you overcome the evil that faces you. We don't know what the gameplay elements are at this point in time, but the story definitely looks intriguing to say the least. Looking forward once again. Now this one you may have not missed, but it still deserves a mention, and that is Cuphead. How exciting does this look? From studio MDHR we see a game straight out of the 1930s. Visually it's extremely eye-catching and completely envelops you into the world. We have the authentic music, the animation jitters, the vibrant colours with an element of dust and scratch, and an intentional blur to enhance that standard def look. It's all there to create a pretty unique style. The game is nothing new as announced a while back, but it's ever closer now and still very much part of this year's E3. It's set to be a difficult run and gun game focusing on boss battles set right in the mechanics of a 16-bit era. Next is one that could be personal to a lot of people. It's revitalizing to see a dev come on stage and talk about an issue that is meaningful to a lot of people and consequently see the game based on it. Beyond Eyes. It essentially shares the story of hope, embracing the challenges that life faces us. It's an exploration game depicting a girl who is blind, and it's your job to guide her through the world. Initially the world is barely visible, but by touching things and following sounds, the world slowly starts to reveal itself. You're effectively painting the world in, and this allows for a very unique and beautiful style which reflects on watercolor painting. From the guys who made Gone Home, Fulbright brings us Tacoma. We get to witness and wonder that it's life like in a place that's unfamiliar to both you and I. The game takes place on a lunar-based station called Tacoma. The concept is directly reminiscent of some of my favourite films like Moon and Alien. It's this intrinsic nature of being situated in the unknown inside of an unknown space. I can't really think of anything more intriguing. The gameplay we saw was pretty bare, but the impression was set. Finally, we have Firewatch from Campo Santo. Taking place in the real-world 1989 Wyoming wilderness, you play as Henry, a newly appointed fire lookout. Straight from the outset, this title seems to be injected with humour and wit, which sits extremely well with the vibrant and sun-drenched art style. This is soon subverted through the tonal shift that shortly follows. There's something immediately alluring about an everyday person somehow being dumped into an unknown situation with only a woman on the radio as a means of discovery. The trailer refused to reveal much else, but this seems like a title where we'll definitely be going along for the ride. With some of the games, it's not the first time we've heard about them, but regardless, there are definitely some to look out for, especially after this year's E3. There were some other interesting titles that could have easily been missed by the big announcements, and they were games such as Ashen, Nier, and Yoshi's Woolly World. All great and interesting looking titles, so go back and check them out. Thanks for listening, guys, and as always, take it easy, and I'll see you soon.